Well, welcome back, everybody. We're finally back on the exhaust, so let's get cracking. So here's an important part. As I said on the last video, these are the same size. And so either I need to shrink this to slide in, or I need to expand this to go on the outside. And I think I'm going to expand it. And let's look at what I got. So this kit, I actually got it off of Amazon. And there are more expensive kits, but I'm looking at them and they all look the same, right down to the same little bottle of grease. So I don't believe there's any major difference. So you've got your main spreader, which this piece back here, as you tighten the bolt, this feeds in and it spreads these out, and of course it expands the pipe. I've already lubed up the bearing on this, and basically it goes in conjunction with these. These are aluminum and they're different spacers, and it depends on what size you need. So that is probably just a touch big. So this guy we'll probably start out with. In all honesty, I saw a guy do this years ago where he put the exhaust clamps or a exhaust clamp over the pipe and then tighten it down and then use like a body hammer, and then he beat this and actually shrunk the pipe to fit. But I just I gave it a shot and it didn't work. So I think I'm gonna have to go with this one to spread it out just a little bit, because this is really the size that I need for that. But because I did smack on it a bit, it is just a tad bit bent in. So let me get this, I gotta lube this guy up so it slides in nice, and then yeah, we'll get to making a lot of noise. So I have found, after looking online, there are other types of spreaders, and there is one that I don't know, everyone's seen it. It's got like the jaws on it, that I think there's 3 of them, but it doesn't really do a good job, I don't think. And I saw this kit, and this looks a little bit better because it'll spread out in 4 different directions kind of evenly, and it looks like it does a better job of spreading out the pipe. I didn't want to have to buy it because I don't think I'm going to use it all too much, but definitely shop around. I guarantee this thing is only made by 1 or 2 different companies, max, maybe 3. And if you go on Amazon, you look in other places, I found what looks like the same kit for $169, all the way down to, I think this one was like 40 or 50 bucks. And I don't see any difference in any of them except the sticker on the front of where it's made. So buyer beware, you need to shop around. You'll buy a nice one that has a sticker on it from an American company or someone you've heard of, and it's going to be, you know, $100. Or you can buy the Chinesium, which is what I will call it. But basically, it's the same kit, guaranteed almost that it's made by the same company, and they're all the same. So shop around when you look for something if you're trying to get a kit just like this. So as you can see, this spreads out, I think, in a more even pattern that hopefully is going to spread this thing out pretty good. So now we just put an impact on it and make a lot of noise. It's probably going to drown out this mic, but I can fix that in post. Okay, well, after a bunch of time working on this, I admit defeat. This is a fail. So yeah, let me show you exactly what I'm talking about here. So I've been using the impact gun. I don't know if this is going to pick up on camera or not, but that is oblonged. It's not stretching it out round. It's just stretching out the corners. So admittedly, with this clamp on it, you've got this high shoulder on the side. Maybe somehow that is preventing it from stretching in the right direction. Also, it could simply be that this is a 3-inch pipe that's already been stretched to accommodate a slip fit over a 3-inch. So maybe this thing is just already stretched out a bit. But let me show you, this is my theory. I'm not saying this is a bad kit. I think it's better than the ones where you have the multiple fingers, because when those things spread out, it just ends up making like this ripple effect. If you have to stretch it too much, and it just like distorts the whole end of the pipe. That's my experience anyway. So let me grab this here. So this is basically how it works, right? So you've got, let me take this off. So you've got like the traditional thing that spreads out on the inside. This wedge here moves up as you tighten the bolt. It moves up inside here and spreads these fingers out. Well, that is inside this piece, and so you have all these different pieces in the kit to accommodate different size pipe. So what I'm finding is the size below this one, this is for 3-inch. The size below this one is, I guess, for like 1.5 to or maybe 2 to 3. I don't know. But this, I think what the problem is that this just fits into the slot. All right. So what I'm running into is that when I tighten this up, it's only, there's a gap only showing up on 2 different sides, and it's not evenly opening up. And I think that's just because it's so daggone tight that there's just not a lot of movement for it to be able to do its job. If you can see by the marks on the side, I tried everything. So what I thought was, I'll take this seam and I'll put it right on the mark, and then I'll tighten it all the way out and stretch it, and then I'll loosen it, and then I'll clock it over so that the split is in the middle of these 2 marks. And then I thought, well, maybe that's going to give it like adequate like stretch in both directions. But no matter what I did, it just didn't work. And I guess let me explain a little bit further. Hold on. All right, so I got this thing positioned. So this is kind of what it's supposed to be doing. As you tighten the nut up, this wedge is driving down into the fingers, and then that's pushing against this, and it opens it up in an even fashion like this, right? Well, it's so tight inside of the thing that it doesn't get a chance to do that. So it's only like 2 sides are really spreading, and it's like it's just punching it this way. So like I said, it could be many things. It could be the high shoulder on the side of this is just keeping it from spreading it in all directions. I don't know. Or it's the fact that it's already been like opened up, like I said, from like 3 inches to like, no, 3.2, whatever it is, to do a slip fit over the 3-inch pipe. But some of the problem here, let me get this thing out of the way. I've got a mess here. I've been fighting this thing for a while. So this is the next size down. So it's kind of like a no man's land. If I use this one, I've got the wedge all the way in, and this just barely moves the 3-inch on the outside. So it's barely doing anything. And if I put this one in, it's so tight that it's not getting this uniform spread. So I think it's just, if you've got 3-inch pipe, you might be okay. I don't know, because this has already been, like I said, this has already been stretched out. So now I'm going even farther out, and I don't know. But I'm at the point now where I think I give up. So what I did do one, and I figured out that if I just put a relief cut in the 2 opposite sides where it's not stretching, that it actually flares out better. But now that I've got the one completed and it's on the muffler, I hate it. It's just it extends both sides of the muffler out, and then either I'm going to have to cut drastically the pipe on the X pipe side, or I'm going to have to cut some off the X pipe and some off the tailpipe to make this fit, because then there's going to be also a slip, the cup side of this ball on the other side. So it's just, it takes up so much room from what's actually there. So I know when to call it quits, and that's now. I am going to just knock this thing off, and I'm going to slip fit it over both sides of the pipe on either end. And then I'm going to use, if you've ever seen them, they make stainless exhaust bands, like, and the ones you want to get, it's like a lap joint band, and it's most of it's stainless. I think the bolts aren't, but they might be alloy or something. I don't know, but it's actually stepped. So the 3.2 side that is stretched out for the 3-inch pipe to slip into, that side is a little bit fatter, and it steps down. And so you tighten it up and you get a really good seal. You just put a little bit of exhaust sealer, like that exhaust sealer silicone stuff, or copper, or whatever you want to use, and you just seal it up that way. And I'm just going to do that because, daggone, this is a mess. And then what if I don't like, what if, like, I don't know, everything is together and I just don't like the sound of these mufflers? I gotta, because I would weld these on, I gotta do this again. I've got to take these mufflers off. I got to buy new mufflers, and then I've got to get more of these, and then cut them open, and then stretch them and fit them. And no, I've had enough. It's I think if you're doing 2.5-inch pipe, you're probably good to go with this, because I think this is going to spread out enough and give you an even stretch. And I think maybe, like I said, it's just the shoulder on this thing is just, it's just holding it back. I don't know, but yeah, I'm done. Anyway, it's not a bad kit. If you are going to buy one, like I said, you need to shop around, because I found a bunch of these made by a bunch of different manufacturers, and one of them had an American company sticker on it, and that one was like $169. And then you can get these, which, look, it says it's made in China. They're probably all made in China, okay? It doesn't matter what sticker's on it. It doesn't matter who says made it, what brand it's from. These are all going to be the same. I got this off of Amazon. I found 5 of these, all by different companies. They all look, like I said, they all looked exactly the same, even down to the stupid grease tube. So don't pay more than you have to. All right, enough yapping. I'm running my mouth here. I don't know. It's late. I'm frustrated. I've been fighting this thing for a while, and I've just had it for tonight. So tomorrow I'm going to come back, and we're going to get all this exhaust laid out, and we're going to get under the car, and we're going to actually start doing some fitting. The only thing I really got to mess with is getting the tailpipes. Those actually, there's a tab made onto them that bolt onto the frame. So I got to make sure all that stuff is correct and it looks good. Outside of that, it's just fitting the pipe, make sure it's not hanging too low, tack, 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 and then take it out and do full welds, and then we're good to go. All right, let me get away from this mess, and let's actually get on the car and do something that looks like work that's actually productive. Okay, so as I lay all this out, let me take this opportunity to show you this video's sponsor. You're really going to like this. No, it's still just me. Anyway, I've come out with 2 new shirt designs, and I would show them off. So this one is G-Body wheels, kind of like that. Yeah, I thought this was a pretty cool design. So anyway, I'm going to put a link in the description down below to go to the t-shirt shop. If you see something you like, it helps the channel, it helps support me continuing on with this. So yeah, so get to the next one. Yeah, so this is the other one. Did I modify it? Have you met me? This explains me to a T. So yeah, I really like this one. It's simple, but it explains everything. You see this on me, you know exactly how I feel about everything. So anyway, down in the description, I'll have a link to the store. I got a bunch of different designs. So if you see something you like, all the money goes right back into this old project. So every little bit helps. I don't make enough videos with enough regularity for YouTube to put me anywhere close to our algorithm. So I'm kind of on my own out here, working part-time in my garage trying to get this done. So every little bit helps. So again, appreciate you guys. Now back to the exhaust. Okay, so that is that together. So from this point, I should be able to just take it piece by piece, move it over to the car, and as I go back, one jack stand to support the X, and then one on each of the mufflers, and that should probably get it up to where I need it. And then, yeah, then we can make sure everything is positioned just right, and then we'll start tacking stuff together. All right, let's get these other end of these ball clamps on. We'll just get them zipped up in here enough to be able to hold up everything. Yeah, good. Good. Let's try. Let's get this guy in. All right. Let that hang. Same thing with this fella. Oh. This is why we do this, to be able to see what we need to cut. All right, well, let's see what we got here. I think cutting this down a little bit is gonna get me just to the size I need. Well, we're gonna find out. Let's get back under the car and take a look. Okay, let's see what we got here. I think if I know how to measure, which isn't always a constant, I am the product of Publix high school, I should have gotten this on the mark. Let's see. Can we get, come on, get this side in here. Oh, don't hit the bottom of the floor. Oh, come on. Let's get this one started then. It's gonna be trouble. There we go. Now let's see if we can get this one in. There we go. That's bottomed out. Come on. There. That's better. Okay. Now, always centered here. Could probably, no, I think we need, oh, where's my center at? About like that. That looks, using the dry shaft for my center line. So that lines up with that. Oh. Well, this is going to be very interesting, getting these two to fit properly. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Well, that's stay. I need to get a jack stand. Okay. So what do we want? We don't want to touch it anywhere. Where it hits here on this side. So right about there. It gives me clearance all along here. I can get my gloved finger through that side. This side, the clearance is a bit better. Oh, how we look on the back. Yeah. Let's see, well, that torque just a little bit that way. Okay. So now, I've got to join the muffler and this together somehow. Problems. All right, well, let's see what the next tube looks like. Ouch. Yeah, hit that on your head a little bit more there. Okay, so that slides in there. Can I, ooh, it's really close, but that does line up. I'm gonna do a lot of cutting on this, but oh, that's gonna be a problem though, because that's quite the offset, and there's no room for the muffler to move. That is nestled right in there. Oh, but these two, maybe. Well, what if no, that's just not going to line up. Everything else looks good, but this is not in the spot that I want. Now, if I can't shorten this too much, so I've only got like 2 fingers right here between that and the bottom of the brace. So this side's a little better, but still. It's always something. Nothing's easy, man. Nothing's ever easy. What could we do? I'm gonna need to think about this for a second. Ow! Just keep hitting your head, Hutch. Wow. So I think the way I'm gonna have to get this to work, right now, it kicks out too far this way, and it puts it up close to this, and it's the wrong angle to get to that. So I think, and you can see, I don't know if you can see this, the line right here, this is, I think, where this got gripped in order to make this turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right up to that line, And I think I'm going to give myself a little wiggle room here since I'm welding this right about there. That gets me just a little bit away from where this stretch is, and that'll be plenty in there, and that'll give me a little bit of room to go back and forth to try to get this right. Anyway, so I got to cut that, and I think maybe if I cut that, it'll get me kind of close, and then I'll just use this kick-out piece that I have, came with the kit, and yeah, hopefully I can get those two to mate up. Because I don't know if you can see it, but down here is, it's just really close. And I guess, I don't know if you can see this or not, but there is, it's a suspension, it's part of the suspension kit, and it's a bar that ties in this lower mount to the top mount for the control arms. And the way that thing kicks out, it just does not give enough room for the muffler to move over. So I'm going to make it work, though. It's part of the hobby, is having to cut, splice, weld, move things around, and figure out how to make it work. But we're getting there. I'm going to get that cut, and then we'll see if we can't get closer to lining these up. All right, so I've got everything kind of together, but the angles of the pipe from the Torque Tech kit, which is like basically past the X pipe, it's the whole back half of the exhaust. Tailpipes, I think, fit perfectly. They look really good. But yeah, it's just, there's something going on. I think I need to cut. I've got these two here. The two legs that go into the X pipe, and they're they're both full seated, and from the lap joint all the way to the seam over here, they're both the same on each side. So I cut them as close as I could to each other, and they're both fully seated in there. But let's see if I can. This side over here, it's just, I don't know if you can see it. It's a little cocked off of being like a straight fit in there. So I think I need to come back and trim just a little bit off of both to be able to slip them in to close that just a little bit to get this one back to where it needs to be. Also, because of that, I don't know if you can see it. I don't know. It's probably not going to show up because I'm moving this around, but I can see it from where I'm at. The X pipe is kicked that way. It's off center. I'm using the drive shaft as basically the center. And let's see, both headers, if you measure from center header over to the lip of the frame, they're pretty much the same on both sides, or very, very close. So the headers themselves are decently centered in the middle of the undercarriage of the car, but the X pipe is kicked over to the one side, and I think it's a lot of that. Well, some of it is I need to cut this. I think if I cut that and get it to where it's not like binding a little bit, because it's a little too wide, that might fix some of that. But I think some of it too is just trying to use the existing pipes that I have to mate the end of the X pipe up with the muffler. It's just not working out. So I'm gonna, and it's kicking it off to the side, which means this side over here is going to lay weird on the floor pan, and that's going to be an issue trying to get it connected to the muffler once I install it on this side. So, and I gotta tell you, this is really fun, laying on my back on concrete, trying to figure this out. I wish I had a lift, because then I could at least have it high enough where I could sit in the chair and look at it and kind of have a perspective instead of being this close to what I'm trying to do and get an idea what I need to get done. So I'm running my mouth, and I think I'm going to do a little bit of measuring and make a decision on what I really need to do to kind of get this thing squared away. And what I'll do is change gears for a second and go from here up to the bench, and I'm going to show you some of the electronics for what I'm doing for the cutouts. And I'm also using a dual O2 sensor wideband system to be able to do air-fuel ratio stuff and probably help me a bit on the tuning. So let me get a little janky with this under here and figure out what I'm doing. And yeah, and we'll come back after I kind of explain some of the electronic stuff. Yeah, so here's the electronics of it. I'm going with Innovate Motorsports. It's O2 sensor package, and it's 2 dual wideband O2 sensors. So I'm gonna have to drill and weld the bungs in for these to get that in. That'll be later on. And I got a set of Badlands exhaust cutout motors. And I bought, this is from Timers, there it is, timers.shop. And basically it's a motor controller. So it's like a one button push type thing where I don't have to sit and hold a rocker arm down. Bought it through Amazon, and just bought, what is that, APL, whatever it is. It's a button controller, and it's just simply this. So the controller does the timing on opening and closing them, so I don't have to sit and hold a rocker arm down, and I can probably hide this somewhere, and all it needs is a one button push. And they're wide open, cycles off, hit it again, next time it's automatic close. Very, very nice. So when you get this, it has instructions with it, and all you have to do is just follow the instructions for lining up what wire goes where does power go, where does ground go. It's very detailed instructions, tells you everything you really need to know. The wires hook up very easily. It's not bad. And I'm going to pull it up so you can see. But this last page, it talks about timing adjustment and testing. So there is a testing mode that you can go into, and then there is this address. So basically, this, if we watch here, if I push this 10 times in a row, this thing will light up and then go solid. There we go. So now the Wi-Fi for this is on, and let's see if I can show you this without divulging anything else. But there's a timers.shop Wi-Fi, and you can hook up to it. And while you're in the timers.shop Wi-Fi, you close that down. I don't feel like showing anyone on the internet my phone, so bear with me here. So then we'll go to the old internet, and then at the top, I'm going to type in 192 there. So as I typed it in, I've already been in it one time before, so I'll click on that, and it brings you to a configuration page. So I can hit timer configuration, and then it gives me a bunch of this information. The important thing for me, I'm happy with the push button, everything the way it works. There is an open and close duration. All right, so it comes standard with like 3 seconds for open and close, and that just wasn't enough to get it to full open. So I just kept playing with it until I got it to where it was full open and full close. So open was 4.2 seconds, and then close duration was 4.4. So that's what worked out, and it was perfect. put it in, and then once you put in your settings, whatever that is, you just click the save button at the bottom. It saves it into this, and then you can go out of this, and then basically if you, like if it was in the car and you're doing this, you would kill the ignition. Oh, here's the great part too. So let's say you're out somewhere, you got the loud button pushed, you're having some fun, and then you park the car and you never close the valves back up, so now it's wide open. So when you start it back up, it's going to make a racket. Maybe you don't want that. Great thing is the way this is programmed, when you turn the key off, it kills the power to the module, and when you turn your key back on, it realizes it's open, and at startup, if it's open, it closes. So then you start the car, and then there's no loud, and you go about your business and do whatever you want to do, or if you want it back on, you just hit the button and do it again. But I think that's a pretty cool feature. I kind of like that. And then now it just runs. This is going to be very cool, and I am probably going to put this button somewhere like non-obvious. I think I'm going to try to hide it, make it a little bit sneaky, but yeah, I like that. That's pretty cool. So anyway, that's the electronic side of it. It's going to be dual wideband O2s, so I can do a more accurate job with tuning, I think. And yeah, the cutouts. It's going to be really fun. So yeah, the loud button, right? So let me get back on the exhaust. Okay, yeah, I think a lot of my problem is just these two pipes, and they're just not the right angle, and what it's doing is it's almost pushing against the muffler, and it's kind of moving the muffler a little bit out of place of where I want it, and it's also kicking the X pipe up here into a spot where I don't want it. So I think what I'm going to do is go to the store and get some PVC pipe in 3-inch and get a couple of 45s and some 15s if I can find them, and just do it on the cheap and actually figure out what bends I need to get from here back to there, and not put the system like cattywampus and under stress, so it fits up there a little bit better. And I think that's what I'm going to do. And I think at this point, because I've got a bunch of overtime for the job, and I'm not going to be able to get back on this for probably a week, but I'm probably going to end it here, because I will need to run out to the hardware store and pick up some pipe and tube and kind of figure all that stuff out, and I probably won't be able to get back on it for a minute. So I've probably been talking quite a bit. I think I will end it here. So as always, like every other YouTuber you know, I'm going to tell you, please subscribe, like, share, all those things. So who knew if you got two completely different exhaust systems, completely different from each other, and try to put them together, that it wouldn't work? Never saw that coming, right? Anyway, this is Hutch from Hutch High Perf, laying on my back on a floor at midnight. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys. And I will try to pump out some more videos and keep this going a little bit better than I have. I'm coming up on retirement, so when that happens, it's full-time trying to get this thing done. Anyway, that's it for now. Appreciate you guys being here. Have a good one.